Hi everyone, welcome back to No Sugar with Everything Krause. So if you're watching on YouTube, we are virtual today, so a little different setup. Isabel luckily is in Cape May. I am at home right now, so I'm a little bit jealous of my sister, but we're making it work, hoping and praying that the audio comes out okay, because
Yes.
also our virtual setup is not the same as it normally is.
Yes, because I also did not plan on being on Cape May right now,
But we
but
thought
you
like
guys
she was maybe
know
gonna be
me.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know me. If I want to be in Cape May, I'll change my mind and I'll go to Cape May. I'll leave it. Like, I'm everywhere all the time. No one ever knows where I am.
But
I don't even
luckily-
know where I'm going sometimes. So I
Yeah.
didn't pack podcast gear. And luckily, our brother is also a producer of his own show. So I have our mic. I have a quality AirPods to listen on, and I think it'll just make it a good audio.
Yeah, we're just like hoping I might have to do some post-production like volume adjustments, but it's fine. But anyway, so we are virtual today, but kind of speaking of Cape May, obviously like ring the bells, it's summertime, Memorial Day weekend's coming up, and like we always say, that always brings up things for Isabel and I, like topics and ideas, and that's just like how we come up with things to talk about on the show. But today was like a little bit different because when we started talking about just like going into summer and like the mindset going into summer and all these different things, we almost felt like fake being, not fake, but we were like, how can we give advice to people and like tips and tricks on how to almost live like a balanced lifestyle or like enjoy summer but still like stay disciplined and all this stuff, when we almost need advice on that, when we kind of struggle with some things. And this is something that we are still working on because it's not something that happens every single day. It's like summer's 3 months out of the year, so it's still like a learning curve for us, and we are young. We're not as like seasoned in this, disciplined lifestyle as maybe like someone who's 50 years old is, so it's like,
Yeah.
we are coming at this episode with more of like a conversational approach, and us just wanting to have a conversation and let you guys in on it, literally, of like, this is what we're feeling going into summer. These are the not problems, but these are the areas that like we sometimes struggle with, and I feel like you guys will probably relate to a lot more of like the areas that we struggle with in. And yeah, we of course always end up like having advice and stuff because it just naturally comes, but I think going into summer always spikes some, at least for me, like some worries of my lifestyle, routine, things getting like thrown out the window, and I don't know. I worry about that sometimes. So
Yeah, honestly, exactly what Kateri said. I'm not gonna try and repeat what she said too much. I know that we do that sometimes, but I do want to emphasize that I'm excited for this to be more of a conversation. I feel like Kateri and I are shifting not like a bit away, but there's some topics that we're really, knowledgeable on and that we've conquered, and we do have tips and tricks to give you, but this is something that I feel like is ongoing. I hope it's not, but I would expect it to be an ongoing theme throughout our entire life, throughout probably all of your entire life. And that's why we wanted to bring you guys into the conversation, because it's not something that we've mastered. And I think you'll find a lot of peace in knowing that other girls out there are going through it, especially because some of you reach out to us and think that we have it all together all the time. And I get it. That's social media. Social media is such a highlight reel. But Kateri and I don't. And this is something where I feel like we really don't, and we really struggle with. And I feel like it's probably one of the biggest struggles that women in particular, I'm sure men too, I've talked to so many men that have experienced this, are feeling right now. So with that being said, it's just to clarify, if you guys didn't pick up on it, it's really just a conversation about like shifting into this summer season. What Kateri said, summer is super flexible. It's out of routine. You're drinking on a 5 p.m. on a Wednesday because you're on vacation, or you're ordering tacos every single night. You're getting ice cream every single night. Maybe you're not doing the same workout routine. You're in a new location. You're working out from home. Who knows what it is? The schedule gets messed up in summer, and it takes a toll on your body. Your body changes, your mindset changes, everything changes in these seasons. So we kind of just want to talk about like what we're feeling going into it, what we're hoping to really, I don't know, like conquer our minds on, like what kind of mindset approaches we're taking, etc.
Yeah, because I feel like exactly what you just said. Half the time I don't feel like all the changes in routine and stuff actually change like your body so much, but the mental aspect is what is so damaging. And that's what the hardest part to conquer is like, okay, we're in a season, you go through like winter And then that's when we're like very disciplined. Like Isabel and I, like all throughout the year, as you guys know, like we have our routines, we have our workout routines, we know what we're eating. We, our desserts are like all of our healthy homemade desserts because we're at home literally like 95% of the time. We're not traveling a lot, and if we are, it's like so rare. Like our family, like we aren't big like vacationers during the winter time anyway, other than like a ski trip here or there. So it's not like we are off balance a lot throughout the year, and then summer comes and it's like everything kind of like goes to the wind. It's like,
Yeah.
we're going to Cape May, oh, we're, we have a bachelorette party, we're up in the air, we're doing this, and I just feel like we're a little bit more all over the place. Even if it's only going from like Cape May to home, it still is this like all over the place feeling. And then it's like, well, how do I keep the consistency up? How do I stay consistent? How do I practice what I preach and not like fall off of my goals and routines, but also still have fun at the same time? Because
Yeah.
if you guys listen to our last episode all about like wellness and what that looks like for you, enjoying your routine and enjoying what you do is so essential, but like you also have to have fun in it as well. Like you have to be able to be flexible, and I feel like with summer comes that like push to be a little bit more flexible in your routine. And over the years I feel like I've gotten a little bit better, but there's still this little voice in the back of my mind that like, oh, when I'm in Cape May and I don't have any of the heavier weights, we have like one 15-pound dumbbell, maybe like a set of 10s, and then okay, we're not cooking dinner at home, so we're eating out, and then I of course want ice cream because it's 8 p.m. on a summer night and it's just like ice cream o'clock, like clockwork.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we have fun and enjoy all those and then quiet the mind down to let yourself enjoy them? Do you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's where I struggle, even though I feel like I've healed so much of that toxic relationship that I used to have. It's still very prevalent in my life, no matter
Yeah.
like how hard I try sometimes.
I feel like the biggest culprit for like that toxicity you just talked about of like, why does going to get a drink on a Wednesday night or having an ice cream cone or all of those things that we do during the summer, the flexibility, why does it take such a toll on our mindset and our physical appearance, right? Because like Kateri said, we've worked so hard to build a good relationship, to be able to eat an ice cream and not feel like it's adding weight to us. You know what I mean? Like in the winter, we work so hard on that. But I feel like the reason it's such drastic effects and such a negative mindset that comes from it is because of, at least for us, like we come from a super disciplined winter, like you just said, where we're not eating out much, we're not traveling much, we are locked in on our schedule for a while, and it feels really good. Like I always laugh when people say that winter is when they like hibernate, and it's when, thank God, they're not in a bikini because they don't look good. Like winter is when I want to be in a bikini. I swear I am chiseled all of winter. It's so insane, and I feel like it's that shift from living a certain way to all of a sudden Memorial Day weekend, it's like the first time we're different, like not the first time, but really maybe like drastically changing our movement schedule or our eating schedule. Maybe we're not even having 3 meals a day. Maybe it's not even the quality of the food, it's just the difference in like your eating. Maybe you're eating fruit until noon more, etc. It's those changes that take the biggest toll, because you make one change and then you look at how your body changes and it's like, wait, was that because I had tacos last night? Do you know what I mean? Like for me, it's always so hard to remember that my life is different. It's not because I didn't lift this week. It's not because I didn't, have steak every single night for dinner. It's probably just that my entire routine shifted. I was doing something for so long, and then I went into a new culture, and like I'm getting different results now, and I'm so upset. And that's why I blame the margaritas. That's why I blame Key West tacos. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense. I just feel like that's where I struggle is I like being disciplined in the winter. So to find a balance of like sometimes breaking that discipline, so when Memorial Day weekend comes, it's not like that shock right away. I don't know how to reach that balance because I'm
Well,
in the
and-
winter and I like being
yeah.
disciplined.
And honestly, like that's the problem that we have. It's like everything we're saying, it's toxic. It's crazy. Like it's just, that's almost like the cycle that we have to break, because it's not a sustainable way of life. And also it's not like that deep. It's like, it's just, you look back on photos of me last summer and it's like I love my body. Look how amazing I look. But I know in those moments I was doing the same thing I'm doing almost now, of being like, oh, I can't drink. I can't, like, I have to stop this drinking. I have to stop this eating. I have to, like, whatever it is. And it's not like we go absolutely nuts. It's not like we go out to the bars every single night and all of a sudden we're like these party animals. But the happy hour drinks once a week do start to get to me mentally. And I'm like, wait, because I, especially like in like the wintertime and everything, like I don't drink. Like I go in such long periods of like not drinking at all. Then in the summer, like I'm the type of person that at 5 o'clock, I'm like, yeah, an orange crush sounds absolutely amazing. I want to go have fun. Let's go dance. It doesn't mean I want to go out to the bars until 2 a.m. Like, never like that, no matter what season it's in. But 5 o'clock, yeah, I think that sounds so fun. But then I beat myself up about it because I'm like, okay, now you have alcohol in your system and like, you know what alcohol does. Like, you preach about alcohol and it's not good for you and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like mentally, mind messes me up. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Well, I feel like I totally understand what you're saying, because I also feel like where we probably go wrong in the winter, like something that we could do different in the winter is like if we were to go out and drink, and we're using drinking as an example just because like we don't, so that's like one of the biggest drastic differences for our summer. But say like we go out to, you know, dinners, like, and because Kateri and I really aren't used to going to dinner. Say we have a party and we have cake and we have all this, right? We indulge. The next day, if we want to go to the gym, I throw on my sweatshirt and I work out in my sweatshirt. When you're like, when it's the summer, there is no hiding your body when you don't feel good. And I know that you should never want to hide your body, but during the winter, when I don't feel like I'm going to look my best in the gym, I put a shirt on. So I don't like, so I don't give into that body dysmorphia.
Yeah,
like,
and then
if you know you're going to judge yourself, don't
Just
give yourself a reason to judge yourself, right? In the summer, you don't really have that, like, comfort blanket to block it. You're in a bikini, you're in a sports bra and running shorts, you're in a mini dress, like, you are
you're just in jean shorts, like, you're just in like, smaller clothing naturally, lighter clothing.
So I just feel like we don't have that buffer room. It's like, okay, I ate bad last night, I wake up and I'm going to judge myself immediately. For me, I feel like that's a big problem is, in the winter, I have that buffer room, so I don't notice when my body reacts different. Even just, like, recognizing that, like, I should probably take more note of how I feel after those moments in the winter so that in summer when I feel that way, I can think back to those moments and be like, look, I bounce back within a week.
I also think I just want to address, like, we know how crazy and toxic this does sound at the same time, and that's also why we're talking about this, because
I know that you guys probably agree. I know you're probably doing the same thing.
And it's also just the reality of being, I just think being like a young person who's striving to be the best, but also striving to just have some fun and balance. And I think that one of my biggest issues is I equate like having fun to doing things, not all the time, that this is going to come off as like all the time, but sometimes I think like having fun is doing things that I normally don't do, and that like the habits I normally don't align with, even though fun also looks like to me going to a morning workout class and then doing a cold plunge in the ocean right from the beach. You know what I mean? It's like that to me is also very fun, and going on a boardwalk walk or going on a run and then doing core after with you that's also fun to me. But because I put that so much in like the routine bubble, then anything outside of that of like I feel like these like bad habits in quotations, if you're not watching, I'm like, oh, that's like the fun. But I need to almost get rid of that mindset around it, because fun can just be everything that I do, instead of being like, oh, well, if I'm not letting myself have ice cream tonight because I had it last night, which I also think is good too. I think moderation is a really good thing. We were just talking about this, like, you're allowed to have moderation with things. Then it's like, oh, well, you're holding yourself back from having fun, and that's toxic. And then you just like create this crazy whirlwind in your mind. And it's like, I feel like some of society, the problem with diet culture now, body image culture now is, we put so much of like an extreme on it of like, if you're restricting yourself from eating or drinking, that's toxic. But if you're binging on it, that's also toxic. So where's the balance? Where are the people talking about like, well, you can have ice cream, but maybe don't have it every night. Or maybe to get like a smaller cup. Or maybe if you want to drink, have one drink instead of 5 drinks. Like you kind of give yourself a little bit of what maybe you're craving, but you don't go crazy with it. But I feel like if you hold yourself back from it so much, that's when you go crazy with it, because you're like, I'm not going to have this again for a while. So I might as well get the largest ice cream cone, eat everything at dinner, and have no leftover. Like all of it. You know what I mean? Like I know how wild that sounds, but it's like...
But it's so true. And I realize that like the reason I think I'm so conditioned to think that way too is because that's how I've lived my lifestyle in balance. Like I think balance is something Katira and I both struggle with. That's what we're transparently telling you.
I think balance is kind of BS. Sometimes.
Yeah, I think balance is BS. I almost think you need to just live so intuitively. Like what Katira was saying, I have two things I want to say here is one, when we get ice cream in the summer, like I've noticed the nights that I am like, oh, I shouldn't get it tonight, and then don't get it. Like I want it every single night of the week. Versus if I just let myself get ice cream 3 nights in a row because I wanted it, that next day if people are getting ice cream, I may think to myself, not even like in a body dysmorphia way, but I just may think to myself, oh, you know what? I don't really want ice cream tonight.
Yeah.
It's like eating something healthy. It's like, oh, I had steak 3 nights in a row. I don't really know if I want steak tonight. I'm not in the mood. It's like the same thing with these other habits too, is like you just have to allow yourself to do them and not get mad at yourself for them, which is what I struggle with, because I do. What I've been telling myself recently in the moment is like, Isabel, you're crazy if you think this is going to affect any of the progress that you just built for 9 months. You're allowed to have fun. This toxicity, this mindset that you're talking to yourself right now is going to do far more harm. So if you don't want this to affect you, stop thinking this way right now. That's like almost something that I tell myself, because I'm like, what do you want? So I've been thinking, that's one thought. And the second thought that I had was, I think back on like college and Drexel, and I thought I lived so balanced, but I like wouldn't drink for months, and then like my friends would all be going out on like a Friday night, and I'd be like, okay, tonight I'm gonna go out and drink. And you guys know me, like I was never like a blackout, but I would get really drunk for me. Now that rarely happened, but to me I thought that was balance. And in turn it ended up like, this was the relationship that it really created, right? I would save that one time to go out and drink. I'd be so drunk the next day. I was so hungover, couldn't go on my walk. Sunday I'm in the gym, I don't feel as good, I feel like I'm bloated, and I took I went out drinking, look what happened to me. When in the meantime, it's probably like, well, maybe you haven't had alcohol in 3 months and it affected you that drastically. What, like that's sort of what you just said about like binging. Like I wish I were more intuitive and like had a glass of wine when my roommates wanted to have a glass of wine. And called it a night, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I was so strict. Like, no, I didn't drink during the week. Like that's what I said during Drexel. I don't drink during the week. I don't have sugar during the week. Then Friday comes, I'm drunk. I want to order a sundae. I want to get the crumble cookie sundae. Like it's just literally. I don't know.
And I don't know. Like there's times when I'm like, I do that really well. Like I'm okay in the summer being like, oh, I want to, like you guys know me. My family's like, oh, here's Katiri's like inner party person's coming out when it's the summertime. Like generally she does come out, but only from the hours of like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and then I'm done. Like it is a small window, and once that window is closed, I'm over it. But I feel like I do try and be like, okay, it's okay to go enjoy this, and also like you don't have to get 5 drinks, you can get 2 drinks and be okay. But it's always the next day where like the beating up happens of myself, where I'm like, okay, well now you drank, so like the next day I'm like craving more like greasy food and like all this stuff, and I don't know where I'm going with that at all, but I just feel like I try and
it really is like the next day. I feel like when you see the effects of the habits, you attribute all of the effects to that one habit. Like I'm like, oh, that was the 3 glasses of wine that I drank. Oh, that was the tacos that I ate.
I also think, and it's like just saying all this, I'm like, well, then we just need to create, like, exactly kind of the point I was saying before all of this. We just need to create more fun activities for ourselves that don't involve feeling like we're sacrificing our, like, routine and our discipline and everything we believe in. Because, like, even when we go out to dinner, for example, I'm not, like, I don't love going out to dinner is when I both don't, like, 1, we grew up on home-cooked meals, and 2, I know that like there's going to be seed oils. I can't look at everything that they're putting in my meal, so I can't fully trust in. It just doesn't make me feel good. Like historically, like eating out, you don't feel as good as a home cooked meal. It's just like the way it is. But I feel like to that point, of like creating more activities for ourselves in the summer that don't involve sacrificing everything you believe in all the time, because then it creates a bad relationship with all those things. And instead being like, well, maybe one morning we like plan a breakfast date at Beachhome Farm in Cape May, and instead we like ride bikes there, we get the breakfast sandwich and we walk around, we do all these things. Like that to me fills up my cup. It like gives me that like summer fun activity, and doing all of these things that also like, that to me is in line with what we believe in. Like maybe we're not making the breakfast sandwich at home, but like we're going to a farm stand. It's literally like farm to table vibes, like, but it's still so enjoyable and so fun, and we love going there. And instead incorporating more of those things, I feel like can also help some of this.
This is like a funny episode to me, just
We're
because
kind
I
of
feel
just
like
rambling.
we're kind of just rambling, but I also feel like Kateri and I are brainstorming how to make this work, because truthfully, like, I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. One, I completely agree with Kateri, but I feel like we do that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
I'm reflecting on
like,
our past summers, and like it's so funny because all of my happy moments and everything would probably be, and I don't mean this in like a rude way to other people, would probably be people's like healthiest eats. Do you know what I mean? Like when I go get tacos, like I'm not limiting myself, but I look for the cleanest taco on the menu just because I want to. So it's so interesting to see that like it's almost anything that we do that's off of it. For me, I think this is what Kateri has noticed. This is more toxic within me. I'm not saying that, but I'm not afraid to admit that. That for me, it's like any differ from the plan like shakes me. And I think what we need to become okay with is like understanding that you're gonna change. Do you know what I mean? I think like I expect myself to live all winter this discipline and then change my routine a little bit when it gets to the summer and get mad when I change, when it's like the reality is you were doing something different in the winter and something different now. It's not gonna have the same result. That's just the reality, and something you need to be okay with. Like,
and change is a good thing.
Yeah, I feel like I get so pissed off in the summer because this is total body dysmorphia. I'm not scared to say this. This is total body dysmorphia. But I work so hard in the winter, and like it's during those moments that I work so hard that I'm like, wow, you're so fit, you're so amazing. And then I go to the beach this past weekend with Kateri, and I'm literally crying to Kateri because she took photos of me. I asked her to take photos of me holding my nephew, and she literally shows them to me, and I'm like, who is that? Like, I literally was mortified. I was like, that is not the girl that just worked out for 9 months. It's literally making me tear up because I'm like, I get so upset about, I didn't change anything this weekend. Sorry. I'm like literally tearing up. But I just want to show you guys that like, that's what I mean. Like it means even these weekends now. I don't know. I don't even know what my thoughts are on this topic. I don't know how to figure this out.
Yeah. And and back to the point when we first started, like that's what the goal of this episode was, to just kind of have this like ramble conversation, honestly, because if we're feeling it, I know other females especially are feeling it, and like girls our age, and I never want to put ourselves on a pedestal of like, we don't experience body dysmorphia, we don't have our own issues. And it's very hard. It's like so hard to be happy like with your body all the time. It truly is. No one talks about that enough. And even like someone might look at Isabel or look at me, Kateri, and be like, you guys have my dream body. What the heck are you talking about? But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because you're not in our minds, right? Like you're not going through what we're mentally going through. And I just think like it's very hard to deal with it. And everything that you were saying is what's so true. Like we're in the summer, so like you're in a bikini more, you're all this stuff, and it's like it sucks to not like what you see, and then it sucks to equate not liking that to the things that you're doing, and then you're like, oh my god, I can't do any of this then because then I'm not happy. But then you're doing everything you're quote unquote supposed to do and you're still not happy. So it's like something else is not lining up. It's not what these small little things that actually make up like 0.0005% of your life aren't the ones that are rocking the ship so much. It's like what else is actually doing it. And
it's probably this toxic mindset.
Yeah, and I know how toxic we sound. Like I hate to put out toxic stuff. Like I don't want you guys to like. But at the same time, like this episode is called, or not this episode, this podcast is called No Sugar for a reason. Of like we're not sugarcoating, and that's also what Isabel and I are trying to really get more into. Is like the reasoning behind starting this podcast was to be able to share things like this with people, because I don't truly think enough people talk about it. And
No.
I know that there's people that do, and I probably just don't know where they are all the time, but it's like, this is a real thing that we go through, but when you see our reels on Instagram, you would never think that Isabel was having body dysmorphia issues, or I literally can't look at my freaking legs in the mirror because I hate what my left leg looks like compared to my right leg right now. Like, I know that's so niche and specific to me, but it's like there's still thoughts going through my mind of like, I can't do my normal thing, so I must look terrible. And Isabel didn't like herself in a photo, so she was crying on the beach last week, but you saw a happy reel from Kate May. You know, and it's like, so hard to portray this without sounding miserable or toxic, and this isn't where we live all the time, but in a moment like this we're gonna let it all out.
This isn't where exactly, we're gonna let it all out right now. Like, I would say that Kateri and I don't want you to think we don't live our summers and enjoy them, because I'm sure you've seen from the content. I'm sure you've seen from this past weekend.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that weekend, right? So yes, I had body dysmorphia
the whole
and I was
time
crying
you're
on
like,
the beach.
so
I was literally the happiest girl in the world this past
Isabel
weekend.
was like
I am so
herself
happy.
again.
Yeah, I am so happy all throughout summer. I am so happy even doing these. It's more so like the aftermath of like the happiness.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, when the happiness settles, when I'm putting my head on the pillow.
Almost.
Yeah,
That's
when I'm
so
putting
true.
my head on the pillow and I'm reflecting on everyone leaves for the weekend and I'm here for the week in Cape May. It's more like, oh, what were my habits this past week? Like, for example, I just want to point out that Memorial Day story. Like, I didn't like what I saw, cried. It made me so upset that now I equate, like, literally off the bat, this is what I'm dealing with already this summer. I didn't like what I was dealing with. I have to get back into my discipline. You let loose this weekend. So that happened my first weekend of Cape May. How do you guys think I'm going to approach the rest of my weekends in Cape May? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm already thinking like, oh my God, you hated what you saw. It literally brought you to tears. How am I supposed to you know what I mean? How am I not going to be living through this mindset of thinking about ice cream? Of just like everything this summer I'm already thinking about, because I'm just dreading the feeling of feeling this way. I really am. I'm dreading it. And I think it does come back to like a level of self-love I don't think I've reached yet, in a way, personally for me, of like, do you love yourself far more than your appearance? And I think that taps into everything Krause. I think Kateri and I, we don't really share that part, but being such health and wellness influencers, you're expected to like look the image all the time. You're expected to have no acne. You're expected to have no blemish. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're expected to have a tiny waist. You're expected to be jacked. You're expected to be able to go on a 5-mile run in the 90 degrees heat. You're expected to be able to last the whole yoga class because you're the health and wellness influencer.
Yeah.
And I think that has taken a toll, because I expect myself to look constantly like that disciplined version of myself, because that's what I'm supposed to be on Instagram, but I'm not it. I don't know.
Well,
that's a new thought.
No, I mean, and it's such a good point that you raise, and I think this is obviously very specific to Isabel and I, but with the growth that we've experienced with everything Krause, we feel more like we're being more held to that standard of like, well, we can't film this video because I have acne, so I either have to go put on makeup, or I can't post it or do this content right now because I promote beef tallow skincare and talk about how we're not putting toxic things on our skin that make us break out more. But here I am getting my period. I have PMS symptoms. I have acne. I feel bloated. I feel disgusting. I hate my body. I hate what I see. How am I supposed to go film something for social media? And it's like, yes, we put ourselves there, and these are like the goals that we wanted to hit, was the following that we have, but it still is very hard to then allow ourselves to be like human, in a sense of like letting ourselves be like, I could barely freaking run because I haven't run in months, and that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And oh my gosh, I don't want to put on a bikini next weekend because I don't like what I see, or like my skin is just all over the place right now. Like it's just hard. It really is. Like, it's one of those things that, I don't know, I think you're right. Like, it does come down to loving yourself beyond the visual, what you visually look like. And that is, I think, one of the biggest things that I am working on right now, because I feel like I got to this place of like self-love that was like really strong. But then I had to ask myself that question, like, do I only love myself more because I've gotten myself to a place where I'm like really happy physically in my body? Do you know, like, I look at past,
you know,
that's, like, we did a whole episode on like my, you know, like my physical transformation. We did a whole episode, and it's like, well, did I fall in love with myself, or did I fall in love with my visual looks more? Because now I'm like not as inflamed and not as puffy, and I'm not binge drinking every weekend and all this stuff. And it's like, well, what did I really fall in love with? And it's kind of breaking that mold that I have, I feel like, attached to the visual aspect of myself. Like I need
feel
to
like-
like kind of break away from that even more. And that's just on life and growing. Like you're never, growth is literally constantly happening. So even though I transformed so much of my life over the past 4 years, it doesn't mean there's not more room now to grow. It doesn't mean that my body dysmorphia has disappeared, that my toxic mindset has disappeared. It's like, it might be a little quieter now, but it's still there to an extent. And it looks different on me than it does on Isabel. So sometimes Isabel's like, you can't relate to this, and I can't. And sometimes Isabel can't relate to what I'm feeling because it's not what she experiences. So it's also like, you might not relate to anything that we're saying, or you might relate to some of it, but in your own way, because we all have our own mental
you may be
battles.
listening to this episode right now shaking your head thinking like, these girls got phenomenal bodies, they don't even understand.
Yeah, and it's like
And that's okay if you are thinking that. Like,
yeah,
that's
no,
completely understandable.
Literally. I mean, Isabel like will text me literally almost like every day from the gym how another girl is complimenting, like, wow, that was like so nice. Someone just said to me, like, you have, like, girl, you have an amazing figure, blah blah. Like, I'm working to get to where you are. And as much as like it makes Isabel be like, oh my god, that's awesome, see, I'm beating myself up for no reason, it still doesn't take away what Isabel's feeling. Or like same thing with me, like it's almost just like, okay, great that you feel that way, if only you knew what was going on inside my mind.
You know what I'm reflecting on right now that
hear
I
it.
just want to share with everyone is, Katia and I did the 75 hard back in September, starting in September. Started September like 3rd or something. And I actually think as much as we love the 75 hard, and I couldn't recommend it more, I think something to be aware of if you do it is that you're almost living this idealized like standard of perfected discipline for 75 days, that as soon as you finish, almost like anything you do after that's like more flexible and less disciplined, like ever since we finished the 75 hard, I feel like that's when I've been like, oh, I'm not eating Whole Foods anymore, I have to stop doing that. Like look at how much weight I've put on. Do you know what I mean?
Like you're basically living from my visual standpoint, like you are basically living exactly the same way.
But I lived for 75 days, I lived so locked in regardless of the circumstance. My body, like it was the best I feel like my body has ever looked, and I feel like that's causing the body dysmorphia now, because all I can think of is what I looked like in November, how shredded I looked, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And now I think of like all the behaviors of summer, and I'm like, that's not 75 hard approved, so I'm not gonna look like that again. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a mental thing. I'm like, oh, I can't look like that unless I'm that disciplined. So that's just going to show you like, it's not even the things that you're doing. Maybe sometimes it's in your head. Like I'm realizing it's in my head right now.
Because even hearing you say that, I'm like, I feel like the biggest difference there is the mental aspect. When you're doing the 75 hard, you know that you're sticking to something for 75 days. You're sticking to this discipline and this routine. And we still made like our chocolate muffins and everything during the 75 hard. And we were in a mentally better place because it wasn't like, oh, I'm restricting myself, because it was like, no, I'm doing this challenge, right?
Yeah.
So it was like
every single day we felt amazing because we were like, we put in the work today.
Yeah, and it was like, I'm okay with this structure of like discipline and this restriction that other people see as restriction, because like I'm challenging myself to do this, so it doesn't feel restrictive, because I'm not gonna break it. Especially like Isabel is the most disciplined person. If she says like, I'm not eating this, she won't touch it. Like I am like, I struggle a little bit more. I'm like, oh, what I really wanted, like I have to have a little bite. Isabel's way better disciplined like that. But I feel like that's the difference, is like now you probably are living very similar, if not the exact same, to how you were living on the 75 hard. But now you're like, oh, I can't eat that because it's going to make me fat, or I can't do this because I have to go to the gym, because I have to get this hour and a half workout in, because I have to look good in a bikini. Now it's just like a different conversation in the mind. And we always say this on the podcast, I just think the conversations that you have with yourself sometimes do so much more harm than we realize. Like we don't hold, like our thoughts, our words they hold power. You can't tell me they don't. Like in our bodies and in everything that we do. That's why like almost just talking about this is helping me kind of get rid of it a little bit more, and realizing
me
like,
too.
I don't want to bring this in the summer. Us addressing that this is how we're feeling, and you're already like, how am I going to approach every weekend? that's awful. I don't want to bring this anymore. Okay, so let's get
No.
it all out now. Let's talk about it now and help each other through it so that this isn't our reality every freaking weekend of the summer, our favorite time of the year, and that we can just flourish in business, in life, in relationships, in everything, and just enjoy where we are because we're 23 and 26 and we deserve to just enjoy what we have.
Yeah, no, literally.
And that's my passion project right there.
I know, I'm like, I'm worried, guys. I'm sorry if you don't like this episode.
This is gonna be hard for me to publish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be editing and be like, do we publish this? But like obviously
Well,
we're
I'm
going
just
to.
I'm just
But it's
feeling
just
if
like
you guys
it's
want
one of go ahead.
if you want to transparently know how I'm feeling right now, I'm like, did we just ramble about how we feel?
No, I know.
And I don't even know if I got across how I feel.
No,
Like,
I
don't
think
know. Something else I just want to add going off of Kateria, because I feel like I'm like realizing things. So you're right. I am so happy that we did this episode because I'm realizing things about me as you're speaking is exactly what you said. Like the 75 hard, I was so disciplined and I almost lived my life. I still live my life like that right now. But I was really living my life like that all of my senior year at Drexel too, because that was a very easy environment for me to be like locked into, that I almost feel like I fell into this cycle, right? I just want to point this out for you guys. Maybe it's a cycle that we need to break of school, super disciplined, basically living 75 hard. Summer, kind of falling off that, feeling, that's a big part, feeling like I lost a lot of progress. Not understanding the difference between, okay, I'm maybe not pushing myself in the gym as much and I have lighter weights. Like it's not, I always convince myself like, oh, I'm back to the beginning. You're not,
Yeah.
never back to the beginning. Just want to point that out. But anyway, 75 hard lifestyle at school. Summer, having fun, and I don't mean drink, I just mean like living a looser lifestyle.
Yeah.
75 hard again in September. Basically lived that way all this year. Now summer again. So I just want to point out that like, sure, maybe a lot of what Kateri and I have said it sounds toxic to you. Reflect on our pattern and our behaviors. I basically went 75 hard, super locked in, summer, 75 hard, summer. I just feel like that goes to show you of like, okay, maybe that's pointing out to me right now. Like I need to figure out a more balanced winter routine.
Yeah, because also I think even saying those words of like, oh, now I'm like locked in, it's like, well, you can almost be locked in all year round and it not be so physically, mentally demanding. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of like, it needs to be such structure to be locked in and like reaching your goals. Like, you can still do that and enjoy life as well. Like, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
like, okay, well, now I'm in a season, so I'm going to lock back in. Even though there are times when it's like, maybe you're a little bit more locked in. Maybe it's like, I'm like actually gonna have no distractions. I'm working every night. I'm building the business, doing like there are seasons for that. But I feel like as females, it's like not as intense. At least for
Yeah.
me, like I don't want it to be as intense. Like when our brothers say they're locking in, I'm like, okay, your guys
you
locking
guys
looks
do
a lot
that.
different than me. Okay, like Joseph's locked in is not mine, and I don't want his at all. That is way too
No.
masculine energy for me. But it's like maybe that's the conversation that we need to just shift in our own minds of like, you could still have it all year round. You
And
know?
I do.
Yeah.
That's why I don't this is why this just goes to show you how powerful your tongue actually is. Like maybe this is the root problem is I am locked in year round, but maybe because I tell myself during the summer, oh, I'm more flexible. Oh, life is different. I'm not as disciplined. Maybe my body hears that and it's just like, yeah, you're not. So you're not
Yeah.
going to look like what you looked like back then. You're not
Yeah.
going to feel like how you felt. Like it's
And I-
Katiri's right. It's really something Kateri once said to me about like how you speak to yourself and to show me how powerful it is that our brain does not have eyes, right? We have eyes, but our brain does not have eyes. So when these thoughts come through, if you're choosing to believe I am fat, let's just say that, like I said, your brain doesn't have eyes. So it's sending
Doesn't
signals
really.
to your body. You are fat. You are fat. Like that is what you are telling it. It believes what you tell it. So that's why affirmations work. If you are saying, I am beautiful, glowing, and skinny, your body's probably going to start sending that message and like
Yeah.
it just naturally embodies that. And if you live in that mindset, it's a lot healthier too. I don't know. So I'm just
And
realizing like it's a lot of in the tongue too.
Exactly. And it's not like just doing affirmations is going to get rid of all those like I am fat or like the negative ones, but also it makes you become more aware of them and whether you want to decide if is that fact or is that just a thought, because you can also tell your body like that's not true. Like you can also say those words, you can still have the thought but deny it to your body. Like I feel like that's why working on like the affirmations or the positive or like saying the good things to yourself helps to flush out that, because like you said, your mind and body don't know the difference between fact and fake. So you just have to tell it what it is. And if you believe every thought you have to be a fact, you're literally putting your body into such turmoil. Like, you can't, not every thought is a fact. We're human beings. You know how many thoughts we have a day? Not everyone is 100% factual. It's just not the way it is. So it's like you have to almost take them more with like a grain of salt, and like recognize like, okay, if I'm feeling down because let's say like I did get drinks yesterday and I had some fun and I'm starting to like beat myself up, half of that's probably like the hangover talking and the anxiety talking. But you can also decide in that moment, like, yeah, but I'm not going to believe any of those thoughts. So like, I'm just pushing them back. Like, and I think that's an okay way to get out of that. I think that you need to use your own thoughts to your advantage, your own mind to your advantage. Like, it's in your mind for a reason. So take advantage of it. Like, let it say the things you want to say. Let it believe the things that you want to believe until they become so ingrained in your body that you believe them.
I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, because I think the power of the mind, like Kateri and I said, you're probably always going to feel this way, especially if you're a girl. You think a lot more. You're probably always going to feel this body dysmorphia. So the only way for you to ever beat it, even if you are living a balanced life, even if they're all throughout the winter, you're not living 75 hard, you let yourself live loose. You just need to control like your thoughts, really. I think it's always comes, because it's not even just learning to control your thoughts, it's forcing yourself to say these positive things that I know when I force myself to say them, it places me in a nicer mindset. Yeah. I start to love myself in a way.
In like a kinder place with yourself too. I feel like it gives you more room to like have grace for yourself. So then if like you're doing these affirmations and there's a part of you that's like, oh, I don't believe them, it also then gives you like a soft spot for yourself, because you're like, man, like I should love that about myself. I should believe that about myself. And then I feel like that helps to kind of like lower the cortisol, lowers like the negativity. It kind of like quiets those things down a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it 100% makes sense.
So I know this episode is like literally all over the place, but I also
I don't want you guys to think that we're like, I don't know. I said to Kateri at the start of this episode, I'm nervous they're gonna think we're so toxic. So I hope you guys don't think we are. I hope you respect our vulnerability in this, honestly, at this point, just because this is something that we go through, and I don't want you to think that everything we post is now fake, because it's not. It's like I said earlier in this episode, Kateri and I both said this, we have these amazing weekends and moments. It's basically like the aftermath. It's like, oh, I went to the beach shack. I'm laying in bed at night and I start thinking about it. And it's like
photos
those
and the reels that we create from those moments are really like so beautiful, and that's why I love creating them, because I'm like, it's able to fully like capture what it almost like felt like for us in the moment, and like how much fun we had. Like the weekend dump that you did on your, like, that was so enjoyable to look back on. But like you said, sometimes it's the aftermath of like the days that follow that.
Yeah.
Not
well, and that's why we wanted to
moment.
Share this.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want you guys just to see that end. We wanted you to see like both perspectives of like what may be happening behind the scenes.
The days in between,
the days in between the reels.
No, for real. That's what this is, a little behind the scenes. So,
man, I don't even know if I really said what I wanted to say. Love you all.
That's just like always Isabel. Never thinking that she said what she wanted to say, but...
Well, I just didn't... I'm just realizing I live my life like the 75 hard, and it's not sustainable. So if you all want to know, I have a big shift coming. I have to figure this out.
Yeah, and honestly,
this is something
like,
I refuse to live with.
This is kind of making me... Which is one I've been saying. This will be like my last little thought, but as we're just like talking about ourselves and spewing all of our inner demons... I'm kidding. This is like I literally just said to my dad before starting this podcast, I am on the road to being more organized in like every aspect of my life. Like, I'm so tired of feeling all over the place, and that is genuinely how I have felt for a while now. Like before ACL surgery, like I have felt all over the place. It just felt I was like living every day, and it was going so fast that like I couldn't catch up to myself and like take the time to set myself up for whatever it is I want to do. And this is one of those things that like I want to throw in there of, in my whole like organizational mode of like taking back control of my life, of also setting aside time for myself to say affirmations, to have my gratitude rampage again back in my life, to maybe spend like some of that gratitude rampage like on my physical self, right? Like turn it more towards my body so that I don't go through summer feeling like this, or like how can I take time for myself to, maybe if there are negative thoughts I'm feeling, like maybe I journal and write them all down, or I speak them all out loud to get them out of my mind. Like how can I add this into my life that like I actually am going to change? Because we can say this and be like, we don't want to bring this into summer, but unless you take the action to get rid of it, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the same freaking conversation going into next summer. And I don't want to have that conversation again. So it's like, that's really the reality of life that I'm realizing is like, I say a lot, but my actions don't always match what I'm trying to do. And luckily, which I say this is a lot, like luckily a lot of these things are in our own control. There's a lot of life that's out of our control, but when it comes to like, oh, I want to be more organized, that's not anyone else's responsibility but my own. So stop being lazy and just do it so you can feel better. You know what I mean? It's like just small little things that you can do that can boost your confidence and make you feel better. And I feel like this is one of those things that like I can only say so much, but I actually have to actively work on it, actively work on finding that self-love again that isn't based on my visual appearance and is based on like internal love, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, yes, you are watching me cry because I am getting emotional right now just thinking about this, but wrap it up, sister. You have to wrap it up today.
I just want to say one thing really quick. I think the reason some of this emotion is coming out, one, because it's very hard to talk about this, but also is when I don't like living in negative, like we don't like giving off negativity, and also thinking like this isn't our only perspective of summer, right? And it's like we enjoy being in Cape May, we enjoy doing all of that so much, we love it, like beyond what anyone can really imagine unless you're living our life. Like we just have such an amazing time when we're in Cape May, when we're just like in the summer, like we just truly love it, we do. So it's almost like, why are we being so negative about something that we love so much? But then at the same time, that's what makes it hard, is to be so like vulnerable and honest about it. And that's, I guess, like the struggle that we're having now of like even recording this. It's like, oof, I don't want to put that out, but like we're going to anyway. And because we don't want to is the reason that we have to. Yeah. In a way. And
well, listen, like honestly, like I'm just sitting here, like the reason I'm crying right now is because like I literally just listened to what Kateri just said, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you know what I mean? Like I'm so upset that I don't love myself that we even have to have this conversation. Yeah. Just now that I can't speak, never mind. So we're thought I could give you guys a tidbit.
Yeah, you can't. That was me earlier today. It's fine. I'm like, it's okay. So, but exactly that, and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, if we don't want to feel this way, loving yourself and doing all this, to everyone listening, like it does take work, and it is worth doing the work. I literally hear Mom yelling at Duncan. He must have just gone to the bathroom now. I'm sorry. That just got so distracted. So if you heard Mom yelling bad, she's yelling bad at Duncan. Anyway, but it does take work, and it is worth putting in the work. And we hope that you guys could just see like a different side of us, but also we hope that it didn't bring you the negativity, also just maybe helped you kind of look inward on yourself. And if you have similar thoughts, like we all don't need to feel like this. We can all change that. We can change the narrative and the conversations. These are things that you can control in your life, and it's worth taking control while you can. I don't want to live my entire life feeling like this. I always say to Isabel, I don't want to be on my deathbed being like, wow, I wish I just loved myself more. I want to be on my deathbed being like, I lived a fulfilling life. I loved who I was. I loved all the people in my life, and just like that. You know what I mean? And I feel like when I give myself that reminder, it takes some of the pressure away from the physical appearance, just like everything. Even me beating myself up about not being organized is like, is it really that deep? Some things aren't that deep, so don't like stress yourself out so much. So we hope you guys enjoy this episode, and we appreciate you listening. I'm gonna wrap it up for Isabel. If you are not already, please like this YouTube video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Isabel and I'm just putting it out there. We have exciting things coming for YouTube. We just like, especially with the summer coming, because we love our content in the summer 10 times more than any other content that we create. We really want to take advantage of that and provide more long form content for you guys, specifically on YouTube. So just be on the lookout for that. Definitely subscribe. If you aren't following us on Instagram, at Everything Krause, at Sculpted with Kateri, and at No Sugar Pod, please give us a follow. You can follow along our journeys and see how our summer is going and all that fun stuff.
Our summer's gonna go great. Our
No,
summer's
it's gonna-
gonna go great.
it's
It
gonna be
always goes
amazing.
great. It's more so that I get annoyed that these feelings even enter the summer at
But
all. Because there's
exactly
such beautiful moments and there's such special moments, and they
Mm-hmm.
take away. Like last week was taken away from, those moments on the beach was taken away from by my body dysmorphia. And
Mm-hmm.
Kateri knew it. Kateri knew it in the moment. I was having the best day ever, and she knew that that was on the back of my mind at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day. And that's what we're trying to heal.
And that's what we're trying to heal, and that's what we're leaving right now here. Like, we're gonna work on it. It's not ever gonna be fully gone, but it's the feelings that we're feeling of not getting rid of it, or like it stops here. You know what I mean? It's like now,
Yeah.
now it's time to put in the work in other areas of life and watch it all come together as one. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We hope you have a very happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. So exciting. Summer is here. Here comes like the fun, the warm, the tans, all of that good stuff. And
Enjoy it. Remind
Enjoy
yourself
it.
that this
Yeah.
weekend is going to look different than your normal routine, and that's okay.
if you're
Because that's
Jersey
really
Shore,
where self-love is found, by the way.
Yeah.
It's found in just like knowing yourself, not in your physical, not in your blemishes, not in any of that.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, an amazing rest of your week. Happy Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you next time.